Homage to fundamental teacher Buddha Shakyamuni. Homage to wisdom, warrior Manjushri. Homage to all lineage benevolent masters. The Dharma, infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in 1,000,000 eons. Now we are able to hear, study, and follow it. May we fully realize Tathagata's true meaning. In order to liberate all sentient beings from samsara, generate supreme bodhicitta. Now let's discuss the fourth topic, the principle of cause and effect. First, the author's prostration to Venerable Jigme Gyalwai Nyugu and other root gurus, accepting and rejecting good and evil karma according to the teachings, conducting oneself in accordance with the 9 vehicles. Having clear understanding without attachment to anything, I prostrate at the feet of my peerless guru. Here it describes what kind of practitioner and accomplished master his guru is. In terms of accepting and rejecting good and evil karma, extremely careful and meticulous. Not doing even the slightest thing that violates the law of cause and effect, all in accordance with the instructions of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Indian and Tibetan great masters on accepting and rejecting good and evil karma. Therefore, his conduct completely follows the 9 vehicles in sequence: Shravaka, Pratyekabuddha, Bodhisattva, Kriya, Charya, Yoga Mahayoga, Anuyoga, Atiyoga, the 9 vehicles in sequence, that is to say, starting from the Shravaka vehicle, step by step, not like some people in today's world who have no realization in view but in conduct, are completely unaware of what to accept or reject, committing all kinds of evil. Such conduct has never been practiced. In appearance, completely following Hinayana practitioners in carefully accepting and rejecting karma, but in view, truly having seen clearly all phenomena, which, in the ultimate sense, are free from all conceptual elaborations, and, in conventional terms, are like dreams and illusions without real nature. Such a guru's view, meditation, and conduct are completely inseparable. Before such an incomparable, extraordinary, and sacred guru, the author prostrates with a grateful heart through body, speech, and mind. Therefore, we practitioners here should also think that actually we have also encountered many great masters led by His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche, whose view is like space, while their conduct meticulously accepts and rejects karma, such Buddha-like gurus. In our mind stream we have also obtained many correct views on accepting and rejecting karma, so on one hand we should remember the kindness of the lineage masters. On the other hand, if we didn't have the guidance and teachings of our gurus, our mind stream might be exactly the same as ordinary worldly people still committing terrible sins, with an endless, dark, and painful future ahead. But because we have encountered such accomplished masters and spiritual teachers, now we should understand the basic principles of accepting and rejecting karma. This is also something we should rejoice in. So while we are studying, we should also prostrate respectfully to all lineage masters from our hearts. Now let's proceed to the 4th instruction, the principle of cause and effect, divided into 3 aspects: negative actions to be abandoned, positive actions to be practiced, the nature of all actions, divided into 3 sections. First, speaking generally about this 4th instruction, we should know that we cannot be separated from good and evil actions. Everyone should have this concept in their mind. We know that when discussing the precious human life, obtaining such a human life for studying the Dharma is extremely difficult. Without such correct view, we wouldn't engage in practice. Secondly, in the content of the instruction on impermanence, we know that this precious human life cannot exist permanently and constantly. It will deteriorate and face impermanence, so we should understand the urgency of practice. In the 3rd instruction, everyone should know that practice cannot be for heavenly blessings and temporary benefits of this life, but should transcend the 3 realms of samsara through practice. Such practice must be embraced by renunciation. We should understand that the 3 realms of samsara are painful like a burning house. In this 4th instruction, everyone should understand that we will definitely be reborn according to our good and evil actions. It's impossible to escape the bondage of karma and do whatever one wants. If we now rely on spiritual teachers' instructions and practice virtue, we will be happy in the future. But if we don't follow the teachings of gurus and Buddhas and bodhisattvas ahead of us, we'll forever be darkness and suffering. After understanding this point, we should know how to accept and reject karma. So the connection and importance of these several instructions everyone must understand. Especially this instruction on good and evil karma is indeed very important for many practitioners. Now we see many people in these degenerate times, whether monastics or lay people, superficially, everyone thinks they are Buddhist practitioners, people who have taken refuge, people wearing robes, but actually their words and deeds can demonstrate and reveal their evil minds and inner ugliness. They can't even be called Buddhists. They probably wouldn't even acknowledge the basic principle that good deeds bring good results and evil deeds bring evil results. Many people can see through such inconsistent behavior. Some people in this turbid age may perform a role on the surface, but actually they are not like that. So is it necessary? Many of us should reflect deeply. Actually, every sentient being in this world doesn't want suffering and wants happiness. This is a natural, innate belief. Whether animals or humans, whatever kind of beings come to this world, from the day they have sensory perception and feelings, everyone strives toward beauty and happiness. So since 100% of beings hope for happiness and don't want suffering, the conditions for happiness must be sought by ourselves and not depend on kings, ministers, or other worldly lords to create for us. If happiness truly depended on them, then our own diligent efforts would be absolutely meaningless. But actually it's not like that. Therefore, we understand that humans first need happiness, and the source of happiness is doing good deeds. If we don't do good deeds, suffering will naturally come to us. The Sutra of the Right Mindfulness of Dharma also says, "You yourself create evil karma, you yourself consume it." It's not that one person creates karma, and another person experiences the results. The evil karma you create yourself, you must completely reap what you sow. You yourself must experience it. It's not that someone else did something for me to bear, so you must have deep faith in karma from your heart. Actually, the only sign of a practitioner is whether they believe in karma. This is crucial. If you don't believe in karma, whatever you pretend to be on the surface, you're actually just a false skeleton, just a mask. Your inner true nature is not like that. Beings are reborn in the good or bad realms of samsara, according to their individually accumulated good and evil karma, all according to their individual conditions. Actually, samsara is produced by karmic force and formed by karmic results. Rising to good realms or falling to bad realms has no other creator, nor is it produced by coincidental conditions. First, it's not as the non-Buddhists claim, Creator, God, Indra, Ishvara, Vishnu, they don't create our happiness and suffering. Second, as the materialist non-Buddhists and atheists claim that all happiness, consciousness, everything is produced after being formed by coincidental conditions without long-term future or past continuity, this is completely wrong and heretical, as the Mahayana Sutra of mental contemplation. During earlier births also teaches all phenomena are formed by causes and conditions. Without causes and conditions, there are no phenomena. All phenomena are formed by causes and conditions. If there were no causes and conditions, what we now see and hear, all the various phenomena, including the suffering, happiness, and sorrow in our mind stream, would all be nothing, completely absent. This sutra also says, the great wrong view of no cause and no effect leads to ignorant speculation about not knowing merit and sin. If we think everything is produced by coincidental conditions with no good, no evil, no results, such great wrong view is extremely frightening. These people don't acknowledge merit or sin. It's actually just deluded conceptual thinking. The true conventional truth of the world is not like this. Karma truly exists. As long as you plant a seed, when conditions come together, its fruit will definitely ripen. So whether you acknowledge it or not, if you create evil karma someday in the future, you will definitely experience immeasurable suffering in your mind stream. This is without doubt completely accurate. But people who truly understand and have correct knowledge and view can now be said to be as rare as morning stars. Especially among practitioners, some spiritual teachers may provide no guidance at all, while some may speak a little verbally, but the so-called guru has no correct view in their own mind stream. Then those below cannot possibly receive anything. If a large pot is originally empty, with nothing inside, then when you pour from it, the small pot will likewise be empty. So it's just self-deception and deceiving others, not necessarily truly beneficial. So I think in these degenerate times, whether transmitting or studying the Dharma, much of it has become mere appearance. So some behaviors that don't take karma seriously are often displayed before others. Therefore, we must always observe the laws of good and evil karma and wholeheartedly strive to abandon evil and practice virtue. For those who truly have some correct view, accepting and rejecting karma is very important. But for those with wrong views, no matter how much you talk, it may only increase their afflictions and not be beneficial. Perhaps some people with good conditions and deeper virtue might understand some of these principles with just a little reminder. Now let's analyze in detail. Negative actions to be abandoned, divided into 4 aspects. Physical negative actions, verbal negative actions, mental negative actions, and the results of the 10 negative actions. Mine is divided into 4 aspects. Physical negative actions are divided into killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. I also explained the 10 negative actions when teaching about the Pure Land. Here I'll introduce them again, as this is actually very crucial. It's not that just because you've heard it once before or studied it once, it's already sufficient. I don't think that way, because there are many profound instructions within that require repeated study. People with some virtue should consider themselves. We're not talking about other beings, but regarding ourselves. Karma is indeed frightening. Some people just say, if I go to hell, I go to hell. This is what some materialists say. If I go to hell, so be it. Let me go to hell. It's not you who's going to hell. I've also heard many people with wrong views speak this way. Their minds are very stubborn and indifferent. Even when they speak, it's just superficial compliance. Besides this, they feel no shame from their hearts when creating negative karma. When creating merit, not to mention rejoicing, they just have an indifferent attitude. So in these degenerate times, there are indeed many beings who are especially stubborn, difficult to tame, and extremely evil. Here we first discuss killing. Among the 10 negative actions, killing is the most serious. So-called killing refers to targeting a particular person or animal as the object harboring the intention to kill in one's mind and severing their life force. What constitutes killing? First, you must correctly know that the object is the person or animal you intend to kill. You must know who the object is and understand clearly. After knowing the object to be killed, through various means, whether through weapons or whatever methods harboring hatred and the intention to harm, you carry out the act. Finally, you have severed the life force of the being you killed. This means all components of killing are complete. Regarding killing, if I intend to kill someone but don't kill them and instead kill another being, although there is negative karma, it doesn't complete all the components. Regarding killing, we also know why it carries such great negative karma, because all beings in the world cherish their own lives. As the treatise on the great perfection of wisdom states, in the world, cherishing life is foremost. All beings in the world cherish their own lives above all else. Why? To preserve their lives, they're willing to endure various punishments. It's the same in the world. As long as they can stay alive, they'd be willing, even if one of their feet or hands were cut off. So this is also why killing carries such great negative karma. Moreover, as we'll discuss later, the karmic results after killing are extremely frightening. I remember the Buddha speaks of the differences in karmic retribution, teaches that killing any being brings 5 types of negative consequences. The first negative consequence, killing leads to short lifespans in all future lives. Our short lifespans are related to killing. Second, experiencing much fear and terror. Frequently encountering frightening events is from past life killing. Third, if one kills, they will have many enemies in the future. Fourth, after death, one enters hell. This is the ripening result of entering hell. Fifth, after emerging from hell and obtaining human rebirth, one still has a short life and many illnesses. So, these are the 5 negative consequences of killing. Actually, many people in our world today frequently experience terror, hatred from others, or various misfortunes which are related to killing in past lives. So there's this saying in Tibet, although my practice isn't good, I've never intentionally killed in my entire life. This is the most meaningful and valuable thing about obtaining human life. There's also this kind of saying, so I also often think about some individuals here who have already taken refuge in Buddhism, and some have become monastics. After becoming a monastic, you cannot personally go and kill. On one hand, you've become a monastic. Sometimes your practice isn't diligent, you're lazy in various aspects, you still create some karma. But most importantly, in the latter half of your life, in your future days, vow not to kill. Actually, this single merit alone makes obtaining human life meaningful. So we must first understand the seriousness of killing. This is very important. People in these degenerate times indeed don't consider killing as anything significant. They think it's right for us to eat tigers, but wrong for tigers to eat us. Our eating animals is considered perfectly natural, but once we hear that a wild animal in a zoo has eaten a person, then all the major news outlets start reporting it. Actually, we eat other beings every day. Other beings eating us should be no different. Every being's life is extremely precious. It's just that we can speak while they may not be able to speak human language. Therefore, the methods and categories of killing mentioned here are quite numerous, such as soldiers fighting on battlefields and killing enemies. This is killing beings driven by hatred. Some soldiers and others begin killing others driven by hatred. There's also greedily enjoying wild animal meat and wearing wild animal skins, causing their death. This is killing driven by greed. This type comprises the majority. Many people in today's world eat animals every day. Whether in markets or slaughterhouses, these beings are killed. Many are killed for their flesh, bones, skin, and so forth. This is extremely frightening in this world. Why are there so many disasters in today's world? Today, earthquakes, tomorrow tsunamis, the day after fires, all kinds of disasters. I think it's because of humanity's extremely frightening behavior now, especially in today's scientifically advanced era, using various scientific instruments to kill beings. No era has been as frightening as now, so our current living space suffers from all kinds of disasters. This is also a natural law. Such evil deeds and bloodshed are truly unbearable for the cosmic world. So if people don't try their best to cut off their evil deeds, I'm afraid the future days won't be easy. This isn't anyone's prophecy or prediction. It can be inferred from the laws of karma. There's also killing due to not understanding the acceptance and rejection of good and evil karma, or like non-Buddhists who consider killing to be virtuous action. This is killing driven by ignorance, killing induced by ignorance. Now, among non-Buddhists, they also often kill some beings. For example, when people die, they begin killing chickens and pigs. I've also been to many places where there are such local customs. Also, like in India, some places consider killing as creating merit. This is a type of killing embraced by ignorance. Such methods and situations of killing triggered by greed, hatred, and ignorance are also described in the Sutra of the Right Mindfulness of Dharma. No matter what, when we kill others, whether with greed, hatred, or even with joy, when killing beings, we will definitely experience suffering. I remember a verse in the compilation of essential sutras, killing others' lives in jest, crying and wailing into hell, suffering countless hardships for billions of eons, the heartbreak cannot be recorded. What does this mean? When we kill other beings in laughter with happy and joyful attitudes or end other beings' lives, then we will definitely enter hell with painful crying and wailing, experiencing suffering for millions of years. This suffering cannot be described with pen and ink. It's extremely frightening. So many of our Dharma friends, no matter which affliction, greed, hatred, or ignorance drove them to kill beings in the past, such karmic results are indeed extremely frightening. Especially now, many people have quite heavy wrong views. Once they have wrong views, any negative karma can be created, especially regarding killing. I remember it says in the Consecration Sutra, killing beings with wrong views, hundreds of demons can all receive offerings, falling into sin and entering hell for billions of eons without escape. If you kill beings with wrong views, millions of demon hosts can take advantage and harm you. In the future, you'll fall into hell for millions of eons without time of liberation. Extremely frightening. But people nowadays have no such feeling. When hell is mentioned, they think that's impossible. This is related to the education of many of you, that is to say, the environment, including your family and your parents' family education. I've met many people, including some monastics. In conversations with monastics, superficially they still acknowledge that good brings good results because they've already shaved their heads and wear robes. If they don't even acknowledge karma, others would laugh at them, but actually from their hearts they have no fear about going to hell. If I make mistakes, will I enter hell and experience suffering in the future? They don't have such thoughts. If this exists even among monastics in these degenerate times, I see that some lay people needn't be mentioned. If it's like this among lay people, how many people among non-Buddhists truly understand karmic acceptance and rejection? So sometimes indeed, teaching Dharma is just a formality. It's very difficult to establish even a correct view of karma in beings' minds, not to mention great perfection or Madhyamaka views, free from the 4 extremes and 8 elaborations. These are all far away in the distant future, beyond reach. There's no way. You simply can't catch up now. Without even the basic foundation of correct karmic view, I'm afraid you're not even as good as Hinayana Buddhists. I feel some of our people constantly claim to be Mahayana Buddhists and often look down on Hinayana. Actually, Hinayana practitioners truly have renunciation. Indeed, they see samsara as like a burning house, especially the correct view that karma is infallible, exists completely and undamaged in every Hinayana practitioner's mind stream. But what about ourselves? Not to mention some tantric, profound and mysterious views, conduct and practice. Let's not discuss these for now. You don't even have elementary school foundations yet want to discuss the highest knowledge of university, undergraduate level. I'm afraid there's no time to discuss it now, and discussing it would be useless. So sometimes especially practitioners shouldn't think that their mind stream is already quite good. When teaching the words of my perfect teacher or Pure Land teachings, they take out novels. I'm a university graduate. There's nothing worth reading here. It's just daily talk about karma being infallible. I understand karma, understanding. Perhaps you do understand. You are indeed very knowledgeable. But actually, understanding the words doesn't necessarily mean understanding. If you can read the words, it doesn't necessarily produce certainty in your mind. If certainty is produced, do you practice acceptance and rejection in your behavior? Without acceptance and rejection, what's the meaning of study and contemplation? So sometimes it's still worth examining our own hearts. Here it explains that among these, especially serious, are the most frightening forms of killing. Killing one's father, mother, or an arhat. These 3 types of killing are called crimes with immediate retribution. Such heinous crimes are causes for falling directly into the hell of ultimate torment without going through the intermediate state. So, among killings, the sutras also explain that superior killing is killing sages and parents. Medium killing is killing those on the path. Inferior killing is killing humans, animals, and so forth. So the karmic results of superior killing are even more frightening. It can also be called creating crimes with immediate retribution. Now, some among us think that as long as they don't personally kill with their own hands, they won't have the negative karma of killing. Some people think this way. I didn't personally kill, so I probably won't accumulate the sin of killing. But generally speaking, regardless of level high or low, strength strong or weak, every one of us without exception steps on and kills tiny beings and insects under our feet. These negative karmas are countless. You shouldn't think that because you didn't personally kill, there's probably no negative karma. Even the insects we step on under our feet in summer are countless. I remember in a Chinese text called the Vinaya for daily use, when getting up in the morning, first recite some Buddha's names, then there's a verse, from morning to evening, may all beings be protected. If accidentally step on and kill beings under my feet, may they be reborn in the Pure Land, in pure Buddha fields. There's a mantra, Omitirini Svaha. Recite it 3 times, and stepping on insects won't constitute a fault. There are also such rituals. There are also some explanations, for example, in Mifam Rinpoche's commentary on the ornament of the middle way, and in some teachings of the treasury of Abhidharma. Among negative actions, there are distinctions between accumulating and not accumulating. So, although stepping on and killing insects is killing them, the negative karma is not very serious. But regardless, if you didn't personally kill, actually, your indirect killing of beings still carries negative karma. Previously, when His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche taught the words of my perfect teacher, some Tibetan monastics who hadn't studied much during the Cultural Revolution, when they didn't have freedom when some people forced them to kill, he thought he was still a monastic and couldn't personally kill, but he would get others to kill for him, then he would persuade others to kill. I'm a monastic, I can't kill, you kill for me. Actually, this kind of action and speech is also unreasonable because he doesn't understand the correct view of karma in such situations. If you didn't personally kill, some negative karma is still very frightening. Indirectly, you might even experience it through your own body. For example, there was once a story told in the Water Mirror record. Emperor Wu of Liang asked Chan Master Baoji. He said, "How long will I live?" Minus he asked this at the time. Chan Master Baoji said, "After I pass away, you will build a memorial pagoda for me. When the memorial pagoda is destroyed, your life will end there." After Chan Master Baoji passed away, indeed, Emperor Wu first built a wooden pagoda as an offering. Later, he once remembered the prophecy the master had given him. He thought wood wasn't sturdy, stone would be more solid. He should use stone to build it and replace the memorial pagoda. Then, wanting to build with stone, he demolished the wooden pagoda. When demolishing, because the wooden pagoda was already torn down at that time, someone called Ho Jing usurped his position, then imprisoned him in Tai City, and later confined him there. Emperor Wu of Liang ended very miserably. He starved to death. Many people thought Emperor Wu of Liang had made such great contributions to Buddhism and believed in Buddhism throughout his life, and he himself had also created many virtuous deeds. Why did his final circumstances turn out this way? Later it was said there was such a past life connection. What was his past life connection? In his previous life, he was a practitioner, and his meditative absorption and various spiritual levels were quite good. He spent all year in retreat in the mountains, living in mountain caves. Later, he raised a little monkey, and the little monkey was also very cute. Every time he dozed off, every time his practice wasn't diligent at these times, it would remind him, often giving him guidance and signals. Later, this practitioner entered absorption, and his meditative state was quite good. Every time he entered absorption, the little monkey thought he was sleeping, wanting him to practice virtue, and would constantly bother him. Perhaps monkeys are naturally playful and wouldn't let him enter absorption. Later he became very annoyed with it. Once, when he wanted to enter absorption, he trapped it in a nearby cave. Then he himself entered absorption. His absorption state was very good. He meditated for several days, just like the former Tibetan master, Nyang Tingzin Zangpo, who often entered 7-day absorptions. He was the king's national teacher, very remarkable. He had physical eyes. With his physical eyes, he could see the Indian masters, Shantarakshita and Vimalamitra. All could be seen through his physical eyes. There was once a master doing retreat at Sami Chimpu who said his eyes weren't good. I told him, when Nyang Tingzin Zangpo was doing retreat there, his eyes were very good. He could see India. How come you just sit there and your eyes aren't even good? I was joking. Nyang Tingzin Zangpo's absorption state was extremely high. It's also in his biography. That practitioner I mentioned earlier, after entering absorption for several days because the monkey didn't disturb him, he was able to enter absorption. After emerging from absorption, several days had passed and he remembered the monkey. When he looked, it had already starved to death. So because of this connection, although he practiced virtue in that life, his practice of virtue and attainment of kingship were formed by the merit he had accumulated as a former practitioner. But later, his experiences or his tragic departure from the human realm were also caused by his actions, caused by starving his pet monkey to death. So sometimes we should think that in our own lives we might accidentally, not intentionally, that practitioner I mentioned also didn't intentionally kill the monkey. He just temporarily put it there, but the monkey starved to death. Because of this connection, he had to repay it with his own body. I've heard that some Dharma friends, trying to relocate mice, accidentally stepped on them, or through other actions caused the killing of beings. The karmic retribution is indeed very frightening. Certainly, if not purified through confession, it will be waiting for us. So ahead of us there are still many unpaid negative karmas waiting. Particularly worth mentioning is when some gurus and monastics nowadays visit benefactors' homes. Some gurus and monastics go to benefactors' homes when invited. Then those benefactors slaughter livestock and cook flesh and blood to offer them. At this time, the monastics toward the act of killing beings have neither the slightest regret nor the least bit of compassion, just greedily loving the taste of flesh and blood, happily eating and drinking. In this way, the benefactor and the field of merit obtain the same killing karma without any difference. In the past, some benefactors in Tibet indeed invited gurus and monastics to their homes, but the gurus and monastics had no compassion for beings, no regret for the beings that were killed. They were especially happy. Seeing meat, they would certainly eat with relish, and the benefactors also felt it was acceptable since the guru didn't instruct them otherwise, so they continued offering flesh and blood. Actually, the tradition of offering flesh and blood did exist in Tibet before. This point is a bad aspect of very few practitioners in Tibetan Buddhism. We should discuss matters as they are. Wherever there are problems, there's no need to hide them. Nowadays, Tibetan Buddhism has indeed undergone very good transformations in many aspects, except for very few monasteries and lay people, generally speaking, especially the habit of deliberately killing beings to offer to monastics and gurus has gradually disappeared. This is a good thing. In the past, we can't erase history. It wasn't very widespread. I've also mentioned in some books before, masters like Jigme Gyalwai Nyugu, Patrul Rinpoche, Pema Dundul, and so forth. In the biographies of many great masters strongly condemned the phenomenon of eating meat, but there was also a portion who didn't understand the principles. Actually, if you as a guru clearly know the faults of killing, but for the sake of protecting the benefactor's feelings, you don't tell them about the faults, this is actually unreasonable. I've seen some gurus with their benefactors. As a guru, you should understand what shouldn't be done and what should be done. As a guru, you should understand. But some gurus can't bear to speak to benefactors, fearing that if they spoke, the benefactor wouldn't accept it, or would be unhappy. Yes, go ahead and do it. It's fine. I've heard some gurus say this to their most favored disciples regarding their unreasonable and illegal methods, but they don't speak up to protect certain disciples' feelings. This is unreasonable. In Buddhist scriptures, there's specifically a story from the Sutra of Parables. Master Changyen also told it before the story of a practitioner and a water ghost. I've seen this story. Once there was a guru who had a benefactor. That benefactor made his living by killing pigs. But the guru, to accommodate his feelings, basically never spoke to him about this. He clearly knew that killing was bad. He often received offerings at their home, but never mentioned it. Later, after the benefactor's father left the human realm, he became a water ghost in the water, a very painful ghost. This ghost often, because of killing in past lives in this life, constantly suffered cutting and various tortures, very pitiful. Later once, when the guru was crossing the Ganges by boat, that water ghost appeared in the water, immediately wanting revenge and preparing to capsize the boat. At that time, the boatman asked him why this was happening. He said, "This guru clearly knew killing was wrong. He ate at my home so many times before, but never told me not to kill, letting me keep creating negative karma. Now I've become a water ghost, very pitiful. I must kill him today." Later the boatman told him, "You became like this and suffer such pain because you killed animals before. If you kill a monastic in this life, the result will be even more frightening. Don't do this. After we reach the shore, we'll dedicate merit to you." Later he gave up this action. After reaching the shore, the boatman had the guru dedicate merit. First, the guru was certainly terrified, so he properly dedicated merit, recited sutras, and the boatman also dedicated merit. Later this water ghost also obtained some happiness, so some monastics and lay people with people they're familiar with who have good relationships in various ways, should point things out to them. Whether they accept it or not is their business. From your perspective, because you understand karmic acceptance and rejection while others don't, you should explain it clearly to them. If they don't accept it, that's their business. There's no way around it. So it also explains here, if benefactors offer flesh and blood, as mentioned earlier, and the guru doesn't prevent it, but happily accepts it, actually both the guru and benefactor equally received the negative karma of killing. The Lankavatara Sutra also says, killing beings for profit, buying meat with wealth, both are evil karma, dying and falling into the hell of wailing. This means that as benefactors and butchers kill beings for profit, there's a buyer who uses money to buy meat for the sake of meat. Actually, these two have equal negative karma. As for the results, both fall into the hell of wailing. This should be from the Chinese Lankavatara Sutra. Maybe I translated it elsewhere before, so it's slightly different in wording from the Tibetan version. Regardless, there were indeed some bad customs in Tibet at that time. We now very much hope that Han Chinese monastics and lay practitioners entering Tibet and great masters and ordinary monastics going to Han areas should all first understand the faults of eating meat. Gradually, some bad habits from before should be corrected so we won't create negative karma. Actually, many of us may have habitual tendencies and concepts of liking to eat meat, but this can gradually be changed because eating meat is indeed not a very good thing. I remember the Lankavatara Sutra says, meat is not good, meat is not pure. It says very clearly, meat is not good, meat is not pure. It gives rise to various sins and destroys various merits. Relying on meat produces all kinds of evil and can destroy many virtuous roots and merits. Indeed, eating meat is not a good thing, but for some people, changing everything all at once is somewhat difficult. Even if you're used to eating meat, try to reduce it as much as possible. This also has great benefit and help for yourself, especially those important people and high officials. Wherever they go, countless lives are killed because of hosting and entertaining them. Especially some high officials nowadays, they have superior reception, medium reception, and inferior reception. I've heard that in some places, according to guest service standards, superior reception is entirely meat dishes. Medium reception is half vegetarian dishes and half meat. Inferior reception is 1/3 meat dishes. In this way, how many beings are killed, especially high officials? I sometimes think like current provincial or other high-level leaders when they go down to various cities. Wherever they go, preparations are made in advance. I see how many beings are killed. I saw once in the south, when a leader came, we were eating some vegetarian dishes nearby. They arranged more than 10 tables for the leader, all of them. Oh my, just for that one meal. How many eons might one be unable to achieve liberation? People who believe in karma, seeing this from the side, don't feel envious but rather horrified and very frightened. Now let's discuss some specific living conditions in Tibet. No matter how many cattle and sheep those wealthy people have when they age, almost everyone inevitably faces the fate of being slaughtered. People who herd sheep and cattle generally know when they age. Most are killed. Only 1 or 2 die naturally. There are almost none. So the killings are countless. Especially some wealthy herders. We see on the Aba grasslands and Zoagai grasslands seemingly herds of cattle and sheep, and many herders singing joyfully. Actually, behind the scenes, they've slaughtered countless animals. Once I went to do animal liberation. One family had killed so many sheep, the number of beings killed in 1 year was extremely frightening to hear. Especially in spring, insects, flies, ants, fish, frogs, and so forth are swallowed into stomachs by cattle and sheep along with grass and fodder, or die from being trampled by front and back hooves, including those that die in horse and cattle dung. The number of beings is countless. The negative karma of all these killings will also fall upon their owners, because owner raises all these hundreds and thousands of cattle and sheep, so the beings they kill, though not directly killed by the owner, indirectly he bears some fault. Herders are also quite pitiful, but many of you may not necessarily have this feeling, especially those of you who run restaurants or go to restaurants, especially people by the seaside. The negative karma of killing may indeed be very serious, particularly compared to cattle, horses, and other livestock. Sheep are a source of endless negative karma. As for the sheep themselves, they feed on small snakes, frogs, bird eggs, and all tiny beings. Sheep are generally like this, but I haven't herded sheep, so I'm not very clear. Because Patrul Rinpoche was formerly in Zahuka, I heard there used to be especially many sheep there. Now there are probably more yaks and basically no sheep. The other day when we passed through Zachuka, we basically couldn't see any flocks of sheep. We said in the car, in Patrul Rinpoche's time, I heard there were especially many sheep. How come we can't see any sheep now? In spring, when people do wool spinning on each sheep's back, about 100,000 beings all perish. As mentioned before, they're all crowded inside. In winter, when lambs are born, half the lambs are slaughtered right after being born. Because now many people wear lamb fur hats and lamb fur clothes. Many wealthy people and even great masters like to wear them. This Tibetan custom is also not very good. It might gradually change, because this was from before, just like in Han areas where many animal skins are made into clothes. Animal protection organizations around the world have condemned this, and now protests are happening in various places. There are many such cases. Tibet also had many before, because right after being born, after killing the lamb, its skin is used as lamb fur, so lamb fur is also not a particularly good thing. Gradually, it should be possible to change this. All the female sheep, before their essence is exhausted, are used for milking or nursing lambs. What little is left is used for this. Once they become old and useless, they're killed and their skin and meat enjoyed by the owner. And all the male sheep, wherever they go, have only one path, death, because they don't produce lambs. Male sheep or bulls are basically all killed. It's very tragic now in Tibet. In some pastoral areas you often can't see any bulls. Many bulls have all been slaughtered in slaughterhouses. When we're usually on the road, we basically see only cows. So indeed, in these degenerate times, whether in Tibet or Han areas, it's still very tragic. When sheep have lice, on each sheep's back about 100 million beings perish. Therefore, owners who possess 100 or more sheep will definitely fall into hell once falling into hell. This is what Patrul Rinpoche taught. The owner of 100 or more sheep or cattle will certainly fall into hell at least once, because depending on livestock, they create countless negative karmas, extremely frightening. Looking again at women, they also create much negative karma. When all women grow up and get engaged to someone, when the other party presents betrothal gifts and holds wedding ceremonies, countless sheep are slaughtered. In Tibet, Zachuka probably mainly killed sheep before, like in large Han cities whenever there are weddings. Basically, none conduct their ceremonies relying on vegetarian food, except for very few Buddhists. Particularly large weddings probably kill even more beings. In 2002, there was an American named Gist. His wedding reportedly cost $3.5 million US. At that time, he invited Jackson and Taylor, famous Hollywood actors, as best men and bridesmaids. You can imagine $3.5 million, extremely expensive. But within less than a year they had separated. I was thinking that at the time they certainly wouldn't have had a vegetarian wedding. They certainly killed countless beings. Our worldly ceremonies are completely different. Especially now, some large weddings indeed kill countless beings. In Hong Kong there's also a Li Ka-shing, not the original Li Ka-shing. When he got married, he spent 700 million Hong Kong dollars. This should be in 2006. At this time, how many beings were killed? We as Buddhists should be able to see this. People's greed nowadays is boundless. The amount of killing involved is not like ancient people before. Ancient people, like in Tibet, might kill a few sheep or one yak, and that was considered quite good. But now, in Han areas, 500 people, 10,000 people, inviting so many people, and these people are also especially famous. After this, in front of these people, you can't just serve one vegetarian dish and be done. So some people appear very glamorous and wonderful on the surface, but actually I remember it also says in the merits of the Diamond Sutra, after a woman died, she appeared in a dream to her family, saying, "Because many beings were killed at my wedding, now I cannot achieve liberation. You must recite the Diamond Sutra for me." Later, after reciting the Diamond Sutra, she was liberated. Many people should think about when they were getting married or starting a family before certainly countless beings were killed. Have we confessed? If we haven't confessed, actually these indirect killing karmas, we will definitely have to bear in future lives. There's nothing to say. So Patrul Rinpoche here also indirectly mentioned that some women and men, when they marry and get married, also create countless negative karmas. Let's stop here for today.
Dharma